If you clicked on this video, it's because you want to get better at PvP, so let's not waste any time and get straight into the tips that will transform you into a top player. This guide is divided into these 5 sections. If you want to skip around, the timestamps are on the screen. Also, if I missed anything or you have any questions, make sure to tell me in the comments and I will reply to as many as possible. Anyways, let's get into the guide now. Firstly, before you even start your PvP journey, you need to pick your build. I want to start off by saying any build can be good as long as you are good with it.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up.
Anyways, even though almost any build can be good, I have 3 builds that I would personally recommend to you for sword, fruit, and gun main that you can't go wrong with. If you are a sword main, I recommend this build shown on the screen. Even after the TTK nerf, this build is still dominant in PvP and is called the meta build for a reason. The main combo starters with the build will be Sanguine C and Portal Z. If you choose to use this build or any portal build, one tip I can give you is to incorporate M1s into your Portal Z as shown. While the opponent is stunned by Portal Z, you can click them with your sword 3 times and get around 5000 extra damage in your combos just from this alone. Overall, this build is very versatile and I'm sure you've seen many 30 millions use this before. Now, if you are a fruit main, I would recommend using any Kitsune build. Kitsune is very easy to use and can combo with literally almost anything in the game. You have a lot of freedom when you create a Kitsune build, but this is personally the build I would use. Your main combo starters with this build are Sanguine C and Kitsune C. With Kitsune, you will have crazy movement, crazy combo potential, and overall just be very annoying to face. Lastly, if you are a gun main, I would recommend using my Dragonstorm build. If you have watched my videos, you have probably seen me using this build with Foxlamp, but I recently also started to use it with Yama because Foxlamp is very easy to Kentrick and punish. You can also swap the Portal Fruit for Lightning if you prefer it and it works very well. My biggest tip for using this build is to use the range to your advantage, since that is the whole point of going gun main in the first place. You can also watch my past videos if you want examples of how I use this build myself. Anyways, those are the 3 builds I would recommend to you. Before I move on to the next section, it is important to note that you should be comfortable with whatever build you pick. You will also want to optimize your trinkets and enchants. At a high level, everybody has crazy overpowered enchants that give huge damage buffs and are honestly unfair, but there is nothing you can do about it except for getting good enchants yourself. Now, lock in and listen closely to the next section of the video, which is possibly the most important. Now that you have chosen your build, it is time to learn about Kentricking. You have probably heard this a lot already, but the number 1 most important thing to do is learn to Kentrick. In today's PvP, especially because of broken enchants and trinkets, everybody can one-shot combo you and the only counterplay is to Kentrick it or else you die. In case you don't know what Kentricking is, it's basically just turning on your observation while you are in an attack in order to dodge the attack and give you an opportunity to escape the combo or counter the opponent. If you want to be safe, I recommend playing with your Ken off all the time so you will have it ready just in case. I can't show you how to Kentrick everything in the game or else the video would be too long. But I will show you some of the most useful ones to know against some of the most used builds in the game. TTKZ can be Kentricked and you can also counter them inside their own move to start your own combo. TTKX can also be Kentricked. You can actually also Kentrick both moves at the same time. Sanguine C can be Kentricked if you turn on Ken as soon as you get hit. By doing this, other common attacks like Sanguine Z or Portal Z will not reach you, as you can see in the side-by-side comparison. Speaking of Sanguine Z, that can also be Kentricked. Kitsune X and C can also be Kentricked as shown. A lot of people don't know this, but the final hit of Portal Z can be Kentricked. Lastly, Skull Guitar Z can be easily Kentricked as shown. Again, if there are any moves that you don't know if they can be Kentricked, just ask in the comments or try to test it out yourself. Now we can move on to the next section, which is all about movement. Movement is the second most important thing behind Kentricking in my opinion, and there are a lot of mechanics I will show so you can move like a pro. The first thing you should know about is flash stepping onto your opponent in the air. The way to do this is by having your cursor directly on top of the opponent and flash stepping as normal. This is great for starting combos, extending combos, and catching people off guard. You will especially see a lot of Portal users doing this. Also, this is especially good with the Draco and human races, since Draco enhanced flash steps apply burn damage and human flash steps have double the range of a normal one. The next thing you should learn are Skull Guitar enhanced dashes. The way to do this is by clicking with Skull Guitar and dashing at the same time. As you can see, it makes you go farther than a normal dash. Now if you want to take it to the next level, you can ragdoll yourself with an attack like Yamazi before doing it and you will go much farther than before. Also, make sure you continue jumping so you don't waste your momentum. This tech works especially well with Kitsune since it gives you extra speed. Now, if you are a God Human user, you should learn the God Human Z Fling tech. The way to do this is by looking directly up, using God Human Z, and then quickly flicking your mouse in the direction you want to go while also unequipping God Human at the same time. This makes you get sent flying. And you can go even further if you do this while having shift lock enabled, but it's also harder to control, so do it at your own risk. It's now time to talk about improving your aim. Improving your aim is something that just requires a lot of practice, but one way you can practice is by using a skilled build. Since skilled builds like Acid Soul Cane have much smaller hitboxes and smaller attacks, if you get good with a skilled build, hitting the other, much bigger attacks becomes much easier. It is much easier for an Acid Soul Cane user to transition to a Portal TTK user than it is the other way around. Keeping this in mind, you shouldn't worry too much about improving your aim because it will come naturally as you practice PvP more, and I would focus more on Kentricking and movement first before worrying about aim. Before the video ends, I will say some of my final thoughts and tips. Firstly, practice is the #1 most important thing necessary to improve, but don't just do any type of practice. You need to constantly practice against players that are better than you in order to truly improve. Fighting random people in public servers is not enough, you need to get involved in communities with actual good players who are willing to practice with you. By doing this, you will soon find out that the average 30 million bounty in a public server is really not that special. If you need help finding people to practice with, there are many people willing to 1v1 in my Discord server. The link will be in the description of the video. My final tip is that if you see that you struggle fighting a specific build in general, you should use the build that you are struggling to fight against. By doing this, you will see its weaknesses firsthand and you can now apply it to countering the build. If this video was helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. Only 20% of my viewers are subscribed, and I am very close to reaching 100k. Your support would be very much appreciated. I am also planning on doing something special for 100k subscribers, so if you have any ideas, leave a suggestion in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I wish you good luck on your PvP journey.